Big Sills! Big Monday. Oh, man. Wow. You know, unfortunately, I don't think this Jalen Hurts story is big enough for the national people not to be covering this thing. This is a big story. And, you know, they're talking NBA. I can guarantee you if this was the Dak Prescott deal, this would be front and center. It's a big deal. Do you understand? April 17th, 2022, we were debating whether or not Jalen Hurts was a franchise quarterback. Now he's being paid $51 million annually a year and getting $180 in guarantees. The rise of this dude, it's the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my entire life in any position in the national. I've never seen anything like this. The only other thing maybe that I could see was the fall of Tiger. If you want to put contrast in rising fame and falling fame, that was probably the only comparisons that I could come up with. The fall of Tiger, all the sponsors, everyone hating him, and the rise of Hurts. Okay? I mean, actually, if you want to look at the deal that he gave the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, he's going to make $5 million less than what Kyler Murray's deal is. So there's maneuvering room. And kind of what Jason Cole said early in the process of us talking about his contract extension, what did Jason say? Pay him early, man. Pay him early. Invest in the dual threat quarterback early. And that's exactly what went down. By the way, it's not a lesser deal because why? Jalen put a value on that no trade clause. You know what that means? That means he wanted control of his destiny. For the first time in Jalen Hurts' career, he has control of his destiny. Saban had it. Colleges had it. The Eagles had it. He has control of his destiny. Okay? That's a big deal. Nobody in the NFL has control of their destiny. That's a big deal. Of all the things in that contract, outside the guaranteed money, that no trade is control of where you go, what you do, everything. The particulars of it. By the way, it's a gigantic gamble. And I'll explain. Eagles and Hurts have agreed to a 5-year, $255 million contract extension. $179 million, $51 million per year. How many people think here? Let me start this out with this. Jalen Hurts is not being paid because he's a prolific passer. He's not. Mahomes 52-50, Herbert 47-39, Brady 46-94. Kirk Cousins, 45-47. Joe Burrow, 44-75. Goff, 44-38. Allen, 42-83. And before you open your faces and say he missed games, that's part of dual threat. Geno Smith, 42-82. Trevor, 4-1-1-3, and Hurts is 10th. Jalen Hurts is being paid for two things. The potential, and he's unique. He's a unique skill set compared to any. Watch this. He's not one of those guys above him. But all 9 guys above him are not him. And the Eagles are paying for the uniqueness. But here, let me put this out there to you. How many years has Kirk Cousins played? How many years has Kirk Cousins played? 7, 8, 9, is it? I really don't know. How many years has he played? Okay. You know who he is because there's an enormous sample size. You know what that player is. Jalen Hurts had 15 ball games. You don't know what he is. You're betting on the potential that he continues to get better. And by all accounts, it looks like it is. And the most important thing as well, the Eagles are vested in him. They're vested in getting the best players possible around him. That's important. Remember what we talk about with environment? Look at the environment here. Let me say this to you, too, what Howie Roseman did. Okay? Howie Roseman gave Jalen Hurts control of his destiny. If you are a potential free agent out there and you see that, the Eagles are showing you they'll pay you. And this is a place for you. The culture is amazing. The culture is by far better than I ever thought it was. Let me think of the cultures in the NFL that might be better. Pittsburgh, Seattle, maybe. Buffalo, but I don't think better. You could flip a coin. Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and Philly has to be the best environment. Okay? Has to be the best environment. He's got an owner that's willing to open up the checkbook. We'll find out what Cincinnati does here in a bit. By the way, Jalen Hurts has opened the door for Joe Burrow, Lamar, and Justin Herbert. Those guys are going to make gargantuan money. Gargantuan money. But it's a risk for the Eagles because there's such a small sample size. You have 1 year that you're saying, I believe in the kid. I don't know how else you look at it. It's a massive risk. But this is what this organization does to stay ahead of Dallas. Isn't it funny? The Eagles are the most riskiest team because of what they've gone through with Carson Wentz and now how quick they were able to pull the trigger here. It's pretty remarkable. And it's not here we go. You think 15 games is enough to give somebody over $250 million and not call that a risk? Really? You're an idiot. You're an idiot. You have no idea how this is going to play out. It's 1 year. And the point is the Eagles are risk takers. They have proven that since the Wentz deal. Actually, it solidifies them as being the riskiest franchise in the NFL. You gave a quarterback $255 million on a 15-game performance. It's insane. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying it's awesome. This comes off the heels of getting their faces kicked in on the Wentz deal. It's a gamble. This guy doesn't have 35 ball games. He's not a better player than Lamar Jackson. But the Eagles love being in business with him. That's a risk. It's crazy great. It's not a 3-year evaluation. It's a 1 year. And by the way, he's gotten better every year. Correct. He ain't one of these dudes. He's being paid on his uniqueness. And quite frankly, his first year starting was not really anything all that hot. What he did last year was amazing. That's the story. Don't make more of it than what it wasn't. Other quarterbacks have taken their teams. Brock Purdy took his team to one less game than Jalen Hurts, making $937,000. Again, the 49ers don't have to pay a guy $51 million right now. Is that an advantage? Probably when you don't have the guy in the building yet that you need to have to be your signal caller. Probably. The only thing that keeps them afloat next to the Eagles is the fact they're not paying $51 million. Or they've got some Derek Carr there that they have to put money behind that's not going to deliver. Or like in Dallas, that's not going to put that team in a Super Bowl. Or how many people think, Dak Prescott's going to make $49 million this year? You think the Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl? I don't. It's a big risk. However, you know why the Eagles went ahead and pulled the trigger on 15 ball games? They like the uniqueness. They like the fact that the player is a great face of the franchise. And again, stop with that shit. He's not better than Lamar. He hasn't done anything near what Lamar Jackson has done. And for those who say Lamar's not as good a passer, he did lead the NFL in touchdown passes. Jalen will never do that. Even with 2,000-yard receivers. He's a unique talent. And that's what the Eagles are paying him on. They're paying him on the uniqueness. Now, I will say this to you about his game versus Lamar. I personally think he's not better gifted as a quarterback than Lamar. However, I think he plays the game better than Lamar. I think just like Brady plays the game better than Aaron Rodgers, I think he plays the game better. Like if you had to put those two dudes on a team that was equal, Lamar's beating you. Okay? He is. But Jalen knows how to use the pieces around him. All right? Arthur goes, Dan is lost. So 15 games is okay for you to put $250 million behind somebody. Okay? Hey, we'll agree to disagree, dude. Okay? We'll find out this year, even more so. Dude, consistency to me means elite. Not 1 year. Consistency. Doing it over a period of time. Being a team guy. You know what's cool today that I didn't hear from anybody, and I didn't hear from this one particular quarterback? Do you know when you know you got the guy? When you got the guy who just won the Super Bowl, not bitching about anything or saying anything to anybody, and he's happy with his situation in Kansas City. That's when you know you got the guy. I think Philly's got that guy too. I do. I think Buffalo's got that guy also. That's why you paid. I think Cincinnati has that guy. We'll see how that relationship is financially, though. Okay? By the way, this is not a rip. Absolute congratulations to a kid who is absolute. Hey, by the way, if you're Nick Saban, how do you feel today knowing that you quit on that kid and he's now the highest paid player in the NFL on April 17th, 2023? I don't give a shit how they bow tie that thing and how they gift wrap it in Tuscaloosa. You quit on that guy. And if you're Tua, you're looking at this and you're doing this now. Man, maybe if I would have coached the guy, I could go around blowing the horn that I had the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. But what you have is a guy who you kicked out because you gave the job to Tua. You gave that job to Tua, dude. No way of looking. It's like Joe Burrow. What, you think Ryan Day could take credit for Joe Burrow? Or Urban Meyer when they told him, nah, Dwayne Haskins, and we got a kid, Justin Fields, coming in. Well, you think those guys could take credit for that? Well, he was with the Buckeye program. Yeah, you didn't want him. Yeah, and now I guarantee you Saban's going to go, well, we told him he had to be a better passer. Yeah, that's why you took the job from him. That doesn't make you a good coach, Nick. That makes you a guy that knows he's got 78 guys deep, and you don't have to coach those guys at Alabama. You just got to recruit them. That right there in a nutshell shows you Nick Saban's not the head coach you think he is. He's the best recruiter in college football. The best coach? I don't know about that. Because if you couldn't see Jalen Hurts, what's that say about your talent evaluation? Am I wrong? Nick's sitting around going, oh, yeah, we recruited, we drafted him. But they ended up firing him on national television. And by the way, he was the one that set the narrative that Hurts wasn't an elite quarterback when he fired his ass. Hey, no question about it. Jalen Hurts is ascent. His ascent is insane, great, and it's a testament to the kid's hard work. It's a testament to his hard work. Not even the Eagles believed it last year. Why? Am I wrong when I say this? The Eagles didn't believe Jalen Hurts was going to be the future of the team. You know why? They went out and got another first rounder. They wanted to be able to get one of these quarterbacks that were going to be in next week's draft. Instead, they're celebrating giving a guy a $255 million deal. That's amazing. Even for the franchise. The player wins, the franchise wins, and most importantly, he may be in a position where he gave the Eagles a hometown discount kind of deal where they can maneuver around on salary cap. But when he got that no trade, the most impressive thing and most respectful thing that the Philadelphia Eagles did for Jalen Hurts, besides the commitment on only 15 ball games, was they gave him that no trade clause. That is unbelievable that a player has control of his own destiny. Such a young player. It's in my opinion, that is really the golden egg of the deal. That's the golden egg of the deal. Jalen Hurts is given generational wealth and control of that wealth. I mean, it's a better deal, in my opinion. Outside, I know it's $70 million less. But wait a minute, there's no trade there too in Cleveland. He has a no trade. So Deshaun's deal's probably still the best because it's all those guarantees. And he's got a no trade. So it's still the best deal. But Jalen's got the second best deal in the NFL right now because he has control of where he can or not go. It's really amazing. Okay? It is. However, okay, let's do this. Why isn't it a risk only 15 ball games? How many of you think it's not a risk? How many people think it's not a risk? You're comfortable with 15 games. You're comfortable with 15. No risk? Richie goes, it's no risk to have a guy play 1 year of great football. 1 year. He doesn't think that's a risk. An investment like that is risk. Hey, by the way, 17, I like the risk to the point that the team is willing to do it. I think it's risky for the player to invest in a player of that style. I've always said that. I'll never change. However, for the organization to do that shows you the culture in the building. They're not afraid. It's a risky organization. They take leaps. They may take a leap next week's NFL draft. This shows you, by the way, this risk, I don't know how it doesn't set up the NFL draft. God knows what he's going to do. How does Jalen's contract affect Lamar's contract? Big time. He'll get more. From what I heard, they've already offered him $53 million, and he's turned it down. He wants more years and guarantees, from what I'm understanding. Eagles have balls. Yes. Yes. Huge. Huge, man. We'll talk Bubba Baker. And he getting 60 plus a year. I don't think Burrow will get 60. But he probably will get 55 somewhere up in that neck of the woods. Somewhere in there, 55, I would say. This has to set up the draft next week. Jalen Hurts, his silence has really been impressive. Really been impressive during this offseason. It's why they landed on that number. He played 1 year decent, making the playoffs, and 1 great year showing growth and leadership is what you're paying for. No, I agree. You're not okay with that? $51 million for a guy who's not an elite passer. And probably will never be. But again, he's one of. Lamar plays like him. And he plays like Lamar. Lamar plays too reckless. I think Jalen's the best runner of the RPO I've ever seen. Okay? That says a lot. I think he's the best RPO runner I've ever seen. I mean, when they brought the Wildcat in, the Wildcat was made for him. But then on top of that, he's a better passer than any Wildcat quarterback that's ever played. I mean, he's a passing Wildcat quarterback. There's no doubt around that. He's never going to put up numbers in gigantic passing. He never will, because of the style of play. So how do you have 2,000-yard wideouts and you don't throw for $4,000? Oh, he got hurt? I know. I said he wouldn't. Gotta respect I do respect the Eagles and what they've done. I do. Jason goes, such a lie. He's done it in college. He got fired in college. He got fired on national television, Jason. Fired by Saban. You must have missed that game. Again, you see what you want to hear. Bob says it's a calculated risk. It's higher risk. Here, I'll tell you this. Kyler Murray, if that guy never gets his team to a Super Bowl, it's a failure deal. Dak Prescott's deal right now is on flames because he hasn't got that team not only not to a Super Bowl, but he hasn't gotten that team to a conference title game. Can't wait until Hurts ends up like Kyler. I don't think so. By the way, Kyler Murray may have been – hey, Kyler Murray might be right in the end about Arizona. Okay? You guys want to kick the shit out of Kyler Murray all the time. He might be right. Everyone wants out. Ownership is a train wreck. I don't know. Maybe Murray's right. Maybe Kyler Murray sees himself wasting his ability there in Arizona. Oh, I see. It's okay for Bubba. It's okay for Buda Baker and D-Hop and all the rest of these guys to talk shit. But maybe when he does it, he's looked at it as a malcontent. I don't know. He might be right. Big Sills, what's up? Hey, Philly 500. Now we got Hurts signed. Getting Bijan is more important. Got to keep building around him. Hey, Philly, I would ask you this, though. You think – so 15 games is enough for you for $255 million, 5 years, 51 per year. You're okay with only 15 games. You're okay with that. Again, it's a question. I want to see how many people are okay with one season. Okay? I want to see who's okay with 1 year. Got it. Again, this goes on the other side of the coin on this. Hey, man, the Eagles, having failed with the Wentz deal to get this deal here and push their chips in again, pretty remarkable. Pretty remarkable. Yeah, Arthur, he was carried his first year into the playoffs. Carried. Last year, he was the engine. Year before that, he was carried. 5-year contract, not a good move. It's not a good move if they don't get to the Super Bowl again. Hurts proved himself. He's been getting better each year. Yeah, it's worth it. So you think he has shown the same type of increase in talent? So if you had to pick Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts, who would you take for the next 10 years? Who would you take? Josh Allen by far for me. Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, not a question. Trevor Lawrence or Jalen? Boy, Trevor Lawrence with those two wideouts and tight end and O-line, he'd go for 55. I'll probably take Trevor Lawrence. Justin Herbert, got to win more. He's got a bigger arm. Okay? He's got a bigger arm. But again, it's not fair to compare him to those guys. Those guys are superior passers. He's a unique talent. And again, that's what the Eagles are paying for. The uniqueness, and they think there's nobody. And by the way, you know, he's the number one quarterback in the NFC by default. There's no one in it. I mean, it's not on the Eagles. That's on the other organizations. Look at the NFC and not getting the quarterback position right. I mean, you got a guy in Seattle that was a cast-off who even had a better passing year last year than Jalen. And you had cast-offs who had comeback years. Jared Goff, for instance, also comeback. So again, I mean, and that's not a rip on Jalen or the Eagles. It's just by default. There's nothing in it. Would you take Jalen Hurts over Dak, Sills? Yes. Matthew Stafford? Probably. Anybody else? Kyler Murray? I would. Kirk Cousins? Obviously. I mean, over Dak, even though he hasn't beaten Dak and Dak beats up on the Eagles, I still would take him. Okay? Can't be mad at the guy for taking advantage. I don't think it's the guy. I think it's Howie. Howie, the reason I personally believe the reason that the Eagles are pushing all their chips in and all their money in right now is because of the way and the shape that the NFC is in. Why wouldn't you take advantage of that? Why wouldn't you take it? Who wouldn't? If you've got what you – here, I'll make this point to you about the Eagles. There are so many holes on the Eagles now, but all the teams in the NFC, the Eagles have the fewest. Compared to what we saw in 2022, the Eagles have a ton of holes. Okay? But when you start talking about them and comparing them to the other NFC teams, they got monster holes to have to fix and look at. There's almost 95% of the NFC has far more questions than what the Eagles have. So when you guys are doing this, safety position, linebacker, DT, you know, we're talking and we're comparing to what we saw a year ago. But compared to the rest of the NFC, the Eagles are far and away ahead of 95% of the rosters. Dallas got better. Seattle's good. Detroit's getting better. Okay? Those teams, New York looks like it could be getting better. Washington is going to be in a better place. Carolina could be, but all those teams have massive holes on them. Okay? Massive holes on them. Defenses in the NFL isn't the answer anymore. Probably right. You're probably right. So the argument is, there is no argument. What argument? No one's arguing, Cooley. I'm telling you, the Eagles are taking full advantage of the fact that the NFC doesn't have dominant teams. Good for you. That's what you should be doing. That's why they're pushing the chips in. They're taking advantage of not what's going on, actually. That's led the Cowboys to an offense that was top 5 points per game with the 31st ranked pass block win rate. And Noah Brown as his number 2. I don't give a shit. You pay a guy $50 million. You need to get to the conference title game. They've won 3 postseason games in 30 years. Get over yourself with that. I don't give a shit about – you don't build your legacy in the regular season. You build your legacy in the postseason, and Dak has no postseason legacy. 0. Jalen Hurts is more accomplished than Dak Prescott in the postseason. That's a fact. That's a fact. People will, and this is where you use this. Well, Dak has thrown for more yards. Yeah, Hurts has thrown for more yards in the 2 times that they have matched up against Mahomes. But nobody would confuse the argument that Hurts is better than Mahomes. That's where that argument dies. It's about winning in those games. Okay? It's about Dak Prescott has no legacy. Tony Romo, no legacy. Hurts has been to a Super Bowl. Jared Goff has a legacy. You know what his legacy is? He's doing something Matthew Stafford couldn't do. Do you know what that is? Turn the Lions around. Matthew Stafford left Detroit to go to Los Angeles because he couldn't get the job done that he was hired to do. Well, Jared Goff is getting the job done. You know, I get it. He couldn't do it. Goff is doing it. Goff is turning around the Lions. That's worth $40 million. That's worth it. Because of the state of the NFC, that may be why we're gonna get to that. We haven't even gotten to the topics yet. So I say it's a risk. I think it's amazing what the Eagles have done by throwing that risk out there. I think Jalen Hurts, without a doubt, has put himself in a position with his hard work. He's winning. He's performing. His involvement with the organization. I think what they've done by giving him that no trade, they gave him a seat at the board of directors table. I think he's an integral part now of the future of the team, not just on the field. Something they would never have done with Wentz. You know what that is? Asking his opinion. What do you think? They're in business with Hurts. Hurts' value now to them and Hurts' value on how he sees himself, unbelievable. He has complete control of his destiny. Every NFL player's dream. Not just the money, the control of your own destiny. Put those chips in with Bijan. It's a calculated risk anytime you sign a guy. I don't think they had a choice that would cost more next year. It's a risk. But here's also something that I'm hearing about Bijan Robinson. I want to get this right. because I was told this on Saturday. It's with the Patriots. The Patriots want to draft Paris Johnson at 10. They would move to 14 and draft BJ Robinson. Would you do it? Would you do it? Now, I'm going to give you trade scenarios for that. And by the way, here are some of the teams and some of the deals that have been offered up for 10 and for 30 on some of the people I've spoken to. You guys know who we have on the program. Bruce Arians works in the front office. Tom Telesco, Frank Wright, Kevin Colbert, all those guys who work with those organizations we've talked to over the weekend. Okay? Here are some of the potential deals that could be out there for your picks. First off, before we move on here, do you want to hear? And by the way, what do you make of the Patriots and what the Patriots are looking at by Eagles moving down to 14, the Patriots moving to 10 so they can draft their old lineman, and them taking Robinson at 14? Well, I actually like that deal because you're getting more picks, obviously. Okay? I do it, Sills. Yes, I want to hear it. Here we go. Here are some of the potential deals for your picks. Again, this is pretty exclusive. Cardinals trading up. Or the Eagles trading up to the Cardinals pick. You would have to give the 10th and 30th a number 6 this year and a second in 2024 to get up to the third pick. Might be a little too rich. Might be a little too rich for Will Anderson. Cards would get, the Eagles would get the Cards number 3. Cards get number 10, number 30, and a number 2 in 2024. It's and a number 2 in 2024. Would you do that to move the number 3? That's the price tag. I happen to think that's too much. I agree, guys. I agree. I think that's a little too rich. I talked to Mike Lombardi today about it, and the Cards are asking for those kind of moves to get to number 3. So again, the Eagles would get number 3 to get Will, and the Cards would get number 10 and number 30, and a number 2 in 2024. I think it's a little rich. I think I got 5 of them. Probably more to come, too. Here's the second projected. It's with the Seahawks at 5 if Carter falls there. The Eagles get the Seahawks number 5. The Seahawks would get the 10th, a second, number 62, in 2023. And in 2024, it would be a third. So, for the Eagles to move up to 5 from 10, Seahawks would get 10, a second in 2023, number 62, and in 24, you would give up a third rounder. That's the move to 5 to get potentially Jalen Carter. Give you the 10th pick, the second, and then another third in 2024 to get to 5. He's a great player, so I would probably do that. Here's the Eagles and Bucks. Jason Light. The Eagles would get the Bucks' 19th pick, a second in 2023. It's the 50th pick, a 5th in 2024. The Bucks would get the Eagles' number 10. Probably at 19, you might be able to get Robinson there. He could be still there, and it's ahead of Dallas. Okay? Yeah, I know. We have a second. I know. 50. So the Eagles would get 19. They would get a second, 2023, the 50th pick from the Bucks, and a 5th rounder in 2024 for the Bucks 10th, for the Eagles 10th pick. Would you do that? Okay. Eagles 19, they would get a 2, number 50, 23 this year, and a 5th and 24. Bucks get the 10th pick. That's for the 10th pick and you trading down. Go up 9 spots to 10. We need another next year. Trade back to 14. Here's one with the Raiders. Eagles get number 38, 2023. A 4th, 109 in 2023. And a 4th in 2024 for the 30th pick. Would you do that? That's about what the price is going to be if you trade that pick away at the bottom down there. For the Eagles' 30th pick, they would move to 38 in 2023, 109, 4th rounder in 23, and they would get a 4th rounder in 2024. Would you do that? You wouldn't do that? You would get 1, 2, 3 pretty quality picks for the 30th pick. You'd get 3 players you could put on your football team. For the 30th pick, you wouldn't do that? Why would I want to take a player down there when I could get 3 players? At 30, yeah, Yale. You get 3 players at 30. 8 and 30, 38 and 30 are going to be in the same pool. Okay? Get 3 players. 2 this year, 1 next year when you got a ton of picks. Here's the deal with the Titans. This is for number 30. Eagles get the 41st pick in 2023. A 5th rounder, 147, 2023. And a 3rd rounder. And the Titans would get the 30th pick. Again, 3 players. The 30th pick is going to land you 3 guys versus 1 guy. Doesn't it make more sense? Wouldn't you rather have 3 quality guys than one guy that you're taking a gamble on? Again, here's the deal. Remember your draft history. Out of the three guys, one of those guys is going to contribute. If you pick one guy, you're rolling the dice. You're rolling the dice. Howie needs as many picks as he can get to get it right. Again, let's just to recap here. For the Eagles' 10th pick, and for them to move up to number 3, you would have to give the Cards 10 and 30 and a number 2 in 2024. I think that's a little too rich for me. I think the Cards, the player that's there is really great. That's why it's a big price tag. Okay? I think that's a big price tag. Too much. I think it is too. So I'm not cool. I'm not cool on moving up. I don't think Howie's going to move up to 3. That's too much, man. I have to give you my 10th and 30th, and I would have to give you the second rounder in 2024 for me to move up to 3. I get it's Anderson. Shit, man. That's a big price tag. I think he's the best player. I understand it. I get where the Cardinals are. That's how they value that player in that pick. That's how they see that guy. Eagles and Seahawks to move to 5 to potentially get Jalen Carter. Seahawks would get the number 10, the number 62 this year, and a 3rd in 2024. Eagles and Bucks. For the Bucks to move up to 10 to maybe get Anthony Richardson or Will Levis, who visited the Bucks. See, this is why the Bucks may do this. To get to Will Levis, the Bucks are offering 19, their 19th pick, the 50th pick in the second round, 2023, and a 5th in 2024 for their 10th pick, for their ability to get to your number 10. If you do that, you could do what Philly 500 wants. At 19, there's a potential there that you could draft Bijan Robinson there, and it makes sense. You get the 4th best player in the draft at 19. You're not overdrafting. You're not overdrafting. Of all these picks, potentially in trades, I think the Cardinal one is a little too rich. I think the Titan offer is not enough for the 30th pick. To get to number 5, that's not bad. To get to number 5 to get Jalen Carter, I give you my 10th pick. Okay? I have to give you my 62nd pick this year, and I have to give you a 3rd to get the number 5 for Jalen Carter. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. The Raider one for the 30th pick is not bad. Eagles would get number 30, 38. At 2023, they would get a 4th, 109. 2023, and they would get a 4th in 2024 for the 30th. That's 3 players. I'm a fan of the 3 players. I'm a fan of the 3 players for the 30th pick. I'm a fan of that because it gives you better odds that somebody's going to contribute finally. You think a player can be offer for our picks? What player are you looking at? You're talking like Budda Baker at 30? Budda Baker's a better player than C.J. Gardner. He's a better player. He's a better player than him. Okay? He's a true safety. He's a Pro Bowler. I think he's a better player. He wants to be paid big money. I think he's worth an investment. But again, Howie being able to get $5 million lesser on Jalen Hurts' deal allows him to be able to go and talk with deals like this. They're one of the favorites to land him too, by the way. $15 million. Whew. I'll tell you one thing that Jeffrey Lurie's going to have to do to keep the books kind of sane. You know what that is? He's going to have to give a lot of money up front to keep those books healthy. He has to give a ton of money up front. Has to give a ton of money. And that means a lot more commitment. And that's why free agents are tweeting out, congratulations, this, doing that, and this and that. Okay? Oh, I know. Buddha's a great ball player, man. I'm good. By the way, Tyree Wilson is flying up the board as well. He's totally flying up the board. I don't know about you, but now that you've given Jalen Hurts this money, I think it's even more. Hey, Tone, you could tell our boys this one here. Now that you signed this guy for $51 million, Jalen Hurts, it is more imperative than ever you draft Bijan Robinson to protect that guy. Do you want a $51 million investment carrying the ball 20 times a game? Do you? I surely don't. That guy will not make that 5-year contract if you don't address it with better talent in the backfield. There's not a person in that backfield that can help Jalen Hurts out. Miles Sanders is a fine ball player. He's not elite, and he had elite numbers behind that great O-line. If the Eagles are smart, they take advantage of Jalen Hurts and their fabulous O-line. Look at the two things that they've invested in the most. O-line, because there's 3 of them. Shit, you could even say the wideouts. And the quarterback. But the quarterback has a uniqueness to him. He's not Mahomes. He can't do without those guys. He's got to have talented people around him. Nothing wrong with that. Dan Marino screamed of that for 25 years. I need better people around me. Dan Marino never had a running game. What did it result in? Nothing. You put up empty calorie stats. Ask Kirk Cousins. You need to limit Jalen Hurts' running of the ball. Not his ability to run it or his availability. Because Jalen, tell me this. Tell me this. Do we all not agree with this? Jalen Hurts is smarter than Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. I'm not talking about book smart, and I'm not talking about intellectually smarter. I'm talking how they see the game, how they approach the game. Jalen running out of bounds. Remember, I told you guys this in the Detroit game. One of the things that was so crazy, watching Jalen Hurts do this. He's running down the sidelines. He'd rather take the incomplete pass than take the hit or a stupid pass in traffic. Carson Wentz made a career being stupid in traffic. Josh Allen has made bonehead plays in traffic. Lamar Jackson's reckless in his running. Hurts sees that game better. He knows when to slide. Like Phil Simms said, this guy's got more. Look at how Hurts has control of the offense in his life, in his contract. He has completely changed the entire landscape of everything in his life. He had no control at Alabama. He couldn't control that narrative. Had no control. By the way, it's not like the NFL thought much of him. Not that being drafted in the second round's a bad thing, but he wasn't thought of as being elite. They put him in the second round. And everyone in Philly bitched about it. Okay, so it wasn't like everyone respected him. Or I should say this, respected his game. They probably respect the guy. Get this. You know what the big narrative was on Jalen Hurts at Alabama? They respected the guy more than the game. That's a fact. Okay? That's a fact. Alabama respected the player more than his game. Hence the actions of Saban. NFL, second round. They didn't look at him as, shit, they thought more Josh Rosen than him. They thought more Sam Darnold than him. They thought more Baker Mayfield than him, and he was coached by the same dude. Absolutely not. I think it's a massive guitar. Absolutely not. I think it's a massive gamble. Kudos to the Eagles for doing it. 15 games in, you give a guy $255 million at 51 per. I hope he continues his success. Okay? I don't they bitched about it Hurts. It was a curious move. Clutch Sports dealing with LeBron helped Jalen. I think Clutch Sports, and I think this Nicole, who handled the contract, was absolutely brilliant. Kudos to her, too. A woman in an NFL game like being an agent, for her, kudos, man. Because I'll tell you without a doubt why it's important to have really a lot of great agents, especially a woman agent. And especially a good agent. The more you have, the less control you give those guys over the players. Okay? The more good ones you have, the better for the players. When you just have Jimmy Sexton and you have Tom Condon or Drew Rosenhaus, and those are the only people you hear, Lee Steinberg, and there's only like a handful of them, they control all the players they have in their books, which means that the 50th guy doesn't really get the respect that he deserves because he's always looking out for the top end of the contracts. So the more people that you have that are really good quality agents, it's better for the game and it's better for the players. So kudos. She's now in the game. And you got to probably give it to LeBron, Maverick Carter, and them dudes because all those guys put her in the game. It's kudos, man. She must be brilliant. Must be brilliant. A week ago, Sil said having an agent was a deterrent in the question. Not every case is the same, JM. I'm saying the more agents you have, the better for the players. If a guy wants to do his own, how did you get that out of that? That I just said that more agents are better for the players who choose to get the agents. And if you want to do your own deal, like Roquan or Lamar, more power to you. How are they the same? Jesus, criminy. Every guy has a right to do whatever he wants. Pick an agent, not pick an agent. All I'm saying is the more the merrier. If you don't want one, fine. He's no dumber. If you were a vet working on minimum, you don't need an agent. Well, Lamar's not going to be working on minimum. Okay? He's not going to be working. He's going to make more money than Hurts. Okay? So I say this. Howie's getting a lot of conversation for that 10th pick. And there is a lot. There is a lot. Sills, if Lamar goes to Washington, do you think the Eagles are the team to beat? No. Washington would be better. Well, no, I have to do the Eagles still because they're the king. Got to beat the king. So it's too close for that. No, I would say Philly still because they're the reigning NFC East champions and the reigning NFC champions. And Washington hasn't done shit. Lamar would change the total landscape. It'd be an incredible conference. It'd be an incredible division. But you still got to stick with the guys who did it. And the guys who are bringing the majority of the team back. And there's continuity and stability in the Eagles. So you still have to go Eagles for the NFC East. But Washington would be arguably the second best team in the NFC if Lamar Jackson goes to Washington, the Commanders would be the second best team in the National Football League, followed by the 49ers, I would think. Okay, because you would have Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts as your ringleaders, and you don't know what's going on in San Francisco. You may have a better roster. But you would, I don't think you would have the better team. So I would still probably say Philadelphia. Again, one thing how he did that was really great also. He diminished a lot of the pain that I thought was coming to the defense, even though you lost 5 starters. I thought he did a good job. There could have been a lot more pain on that side of the ball. Could have been a lot more pain. I don't think we fans understand how lucky we have such a stable front office. Completely true. And a gambling one. We have gone through 3 head coaches and have gotten to 2 Super Bowls and 1 win. Duck, I think for them to pull the trigger on 15 ball games to give a guy $255 million, 51 and like one, what is it? What's the number on 180 guaranteed? I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. You gave a guy over $250 million on 15 ball games is nuts. Okay? What do you do? Sills, what do you grade the signing? A+ on both sides. To me, again, the golden egg in this whole thing is the no trade. It's not just the money. Jalen, get this. When Jalen's other 3 guys, Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow sign, he'll be the 4th highest paid guy. Okay? But what he'll have that maybe those other guys won't have, he'll have a no trade there. Dude, the value on that, to have control of your own destiny, is incredible. That means this. Say something went sideways. Hypothetically, you always have to work on the back door in case something's sideways, right? Say something goes completely bad. I don't know. Jalen wants out. Like you see the exodus going on in Arizona. And I'm not saying it, but he's got a built-in fail-safe now, along with Nicole and Clutch, that says this. No, you're not sending me there because our skill set won't fit that organization. And we don't want to go to organizations that don't have a commitment to winning. You know, there's a ton of organizations in the NFL that are not committed to winning. And when you have control of your own destiny, you control that direction. I'm not going to the Jets. Sorry. I'm not going to the Patriots. I'm not going to Chicago. I'm not going to organizations that don't have a commitment to being a star football program. Not just a team, but wanting to put it around the quarterback and invest in the quarterback. The Buccaneers are a great organization. The Glazers will spend money. They've proven that. Even though that thing's going to be a train wreck, get this, guys. I have to take a time out here. Gary Cobb from Fox 29 at the bottom of the hour. But would you not agree that the Buccaneers and Rams, they gambled and did it right? Even though their football teams, for the second year in a row, may not have winning seasons, they still won a Super Bowl. With the gambles they did in their front office, they won Super Bowls. Rams won, Bucks won. So it paid off. Those front offices show you that they'll spend money. I want to hit on more on Bijan joining the Eagles. I think it's more important than ever. Gary Cobb, bottom of the hour. On really an historic day. A guy takes his story from being fired at Alabama, and a year ago on April 17th, 2022, on being debated whether or not he's the franchise guy, gets $250 million, 180 of it guaranteed, and 51 annually from the Philadelphia Eagles, who took him in the second round. Incredible story. Hour number 2.